Welcome back to Barber Motorsports Park, the finale of the season. Day 1 of 2 here at the Championship of Alabama. A beautiful day to go racing, nice and warm, brand new track surface. Jason, Supersport racing on tap as fans have come out, even down here in the South, Jason.
They always do.
They always do.
Yeah.
Now this is the MotoAmerica 2020 schedule. You can see a couple of highlighted races there. We have starting off the season, April 3 through 5 at Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas. We'll be guests of MotoGP. Then we go to Road Atlanta, VIR, and Road America. And new to the schedule for 2020 is going to be the Ridge Motorsports Park in Shelton, Washington. Jason, a track you're familiar with.
I am familiar with it, and they're really excited about having everybody come up. I know MotoAmerica's been working hand in hand with them to try to get our series there. So it's going to be nice to be up in the Pacific Northwest.
Provisionally, we're going to be at WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna Seca with World Superbike Pit Race, August 7th through the 9th. Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Excited about going to Indianapolis Motor Speedway, August 21 through the 23rd. And then we're going to have back-to-back to finish the year, NJMP, and then we're going to finish the season again right here in Birmingham at Barber Motorsports Park, September 18th through 20th. Everybody get your season credential. Come on out. Make sure MotoAmerica Live Plus, you get it for the entire year. Of course, video on demand with the app. I mean, so many great things to get here. So, Jason, good-looking schedule. What do you think?
I think it's great. I love the fact that we're expanding to a couple of new circuits. It's great that we're going back to Indy and having a race that's just MotoAmerica. We don't have to be involved with anybody else. We get our series just to go to that place. Only time I've been there, I just got to go see the museum. I've never actually been to the circuit and actually been inside. I know you have, and what can we expect?
It's going to be great. I've been there myself. I've gotten to test there. I think the track itself is very, very raceable. Like, we're going to have close racing there.
Yep.
There's definitely a very technical turn 1, 2, 3 kind of area, but then it's wide open and very fast. It's going to be a lot of fun. A good look at the Barber Vintage Motorsports Museum. Now, Jason, as we set the stage for Supersport, if you're a follower of anything on social media that has to do with MotoAmerica, you know that there was a bit of drama at New Jersey Motorsports Park between our riders, number 69, Hayden Gillum, number 40, Sean Dillon Kelly. And, Jay, here's a look at the incident where it looks like Hayden Gillum and Sean Dillon Kelly got together.
Yeah, it is still a hard one for me to take because I can't really see everything that went on. But you can tell by Sean Dillon Kelly's reaction as he got up there that there was some contact made and so on. And so that just started the chain reaction of things that we were to see to come after this. STK, he's such a good rider, such a good guy that when I see that kind of emotion out of him, I know something happened.
Now, there's a bit of drama after the race as Sean Dillon Kelly's dad, Pat, ended up having a few words to Hayden Gillum, and then that move right there, the water bottle incident, as it will go down in history. And, Jason, what do you see here? Just
accuracy.
Yeah.
No, honestly, it's emotions run high in our sport. You see a lot of things go down in this, and it is just kind of what it is. And I don't think that anybody looks at any of our riders as being dirty riders. Nobody is. I'm a big fan of Hayden Gillum. I think that there's been some things said and done over the last couple of weeks that are uncalled for. I think that he's been a mainstay in MotoAmerica. He's a great rider. He's won races. He's proven that. And I just think that, right now, contact in racing has become something of the norm.
MotoAmerica set down a penalty for Pat Kelly and has him sitting out for 6 races, including this one. And, so at this point, I think, Jason, a lot of people are curious about it. And here's a look at these two riders. Is there bad blood between them? It's really hard to say. But, Hayden Gillum's had 5 wins on the season. SDK has had 2. His
rookie
first
season,
win, rookie season, 7 podiums for him, and a whole heap of points collected. Not only that, we love to see, obviously, Yamaha racing against Suzuki as well. So all that drama, now you've got to kind of come into this race and, get your head right. And obviously, Hayden's been around a while. Sean Dillon Kelly himself is new to this sport. But we had a chance to sit down and talk with both of them, where Hayden Gillum wasn't really anxious to talk about it, but Sean Dillon Kelly would. Here's those sound bites.
Yeah, well, obviously this was Sunday, a few laps to go on race 2. And honestly, we were in a pretty good spot fighting for the podium again. We came from podium on Saturday, which was pretty nice. And the day before was pretty hectic, the first few laps. We did have a few contacts. Hayden didn't come into me on Saturday, and Sunday was going the same way. I made a mistake in the first few laps, and I fell back to 5th. And then I made my way past Hayden, past Prince as well. And I was in third, trying to catch Bobby and PJ, but we couldn't make it too much closer. But we had the podium spot up to that point. And then Gillum just tried to make a pass going into the corner, into turn 5. And then I saw his wheel really late, so I had to go a little bit offline, obviously, because he just came in a little bit deep. But on the exit, I just told myself, all right, just go to the curbing and then we'll be fine. As long as I go to the curbing, he's gonna have the rest of the track to make it through. And I didn't even make it to the curbing yet, and then next thing I know, I see his whole bike on my bike pretty much. So yanked, my whole body forward. My bars were completely off of my hands pretty much, and then obviously I tucked the front immediately, and I tried saving it as long as I could, which is why I kind of ran along the track. But unfortunate to finish the race like that, and it's not easy to see from the MotoAmerica Live Plus because the camera just barely got off the screen. So a lot of people are saying that it wasn't him or it wasn't that, but people are going to say that all the time. So it's not really fooling with my head. I know what happened, and I think he knows what happened too. So it's fine. I'm just trying to do my race this weekend and have some fun.
Going into the last race of the season it's bittersweet. I'm still kind of in the championship hunt. But I need a miracle, and honestly right now I want to go out there and I want to finish the season off strong, win for my team, win for myself, and just have fun in the season really good. Don't really know what next season looks like, so just focusing on this weekend, having a lot of fun, and I think as long as I can do that, it's going to be a great weekend.
Well, I think, Jason, really putting this whole issue to bed is what this is about. They both know what's going on, but there's only 2 races left here in the season with 50 points available, and Hayden is still in it. All right, we're going to take a break. Obviously, you can see riders coming up to the grid, so we'll have more from the racetrack when we get back to the Championship of Alabama. Welcome back to Barber Motorsports Park. Fans trying to get some shade, but they have a great look at this racetrack. So well designed.
Yeah, I was out there yesterday, and all the tents were up. And then turn 2 today, I was up in turn 2. I saw all the fans up there. They had all their tents up this morning. So, it's really nice, too, Greg. We're here at a time of year where sometimes it can be really hot, and the weather's actually been fairly mild for this part of the area, I think. We've seen it a lot hotter and more humid here. Get a look at our championship standings.
260 points for Bobby Fong. Only 10 back is PJ Jacobsen, and PJ on a roll. Hayden Gillum still in it mathematically. There's 50 points to get, 35 back. But, Jason, I think the big talking point right now is PJ Jacobsen hasn't been showing the speed he had been showing the last couple of rounds. Bobby Fong getting after it, but for PJ, he qualified 7th, and he's with Hannah right now.
PJ, starting from the 3rd row today, with points being so close, what's the most important thing for you to focus on during today's race?
It's been a little bit of a struggle, but I think, focusing on going to the front and being in front of that M4 up there is the most important thing.
Thanks. Best of luck out there.
Well, Jason, what do you think? I mean,
it's a hard job from back there. I think he had a little bit of brake problems this morning. I was watching that session, and our cameras were down in his pit, and they were doing some stuff with the brakes, so he was having some issues. But to come from the 3rd row here, it's notoriously not that easy of a place to pass. You've talked about the track being resurfaced and the raceability of it and finding new places to do such a thing. So the thing is for PJ is to just keep his wits about him. He sees where Bobby is. They're going to be keeping an eye on each other. Their pit boards are probably going to be telling the story to each one of them about where people are at and that kind of thing. So coming from that 3rd row, I think we both expected him to at least be up on the first 2. So he's got a little bit of his work cut out.
A full grid at the newly surfaced Barber Motorsports Park, which is obviously going to throw into question where are you going to be able to make some passes. But one rider that has been so fast as of late is Bryce Prince on the front row. He's with Hannah.
Bryce, we've seen some red flags the last couple of races really kind of throw off your rhythm here. If everything goes according to plan today, do you think you have the race to run up front and potentially win?
Yeah, I think we had the pace to be on pole today. Another red flag ended my fast lap at the end of the session, and we were right on cue to be right with Bobby right up front. The track's been really difficult with the new surface, but right from the get-go, my bike's just been working really well. My crew have been working hard on giving me a good motorcycle, and just been doing a lot of focusing on the new track, and I really think we got what it takes to win today. So that's the goal. We're going for green. So,
thanks, Bryce. Now I want to check in with our points leader and current pole setter today. It looks like he's talking to someone from Dunlop really quick about these tires. Bobby, the last time we spoke, you said you weren't really feeling 100%, but you were going to give it 100%. How are you feeling going into today?
Feeling good. I'm ready to go.
Short and sweet. Love it. Thanks, Bobby.
Well, Jason, looking at the qualifying effort of Bobby Fong, I mean, he is only 10 points ahead. He's lost some points. He's been injured, but, man, this weekend it feels like he's just lunging for it.
He looks better, though. I mean, you can tell the last couple rounds he's had some pain, and you can kind of see him. He's tried to put a brave face on, but he looks great here. And, by going out and shooting that 27-3 out this morning, shots are fired for that championship.
Yamaha track map here. Barber Motorsports Park, 2.38 miles of glass. It's so smooth, freshly paved. 7 left-hand corners, 10 right-handers, but for sure, the right-handers putting a big load on the tires, Jason. And this built back in 2003. We've been coming here every year since. An absolutely spectacular facility. This place, you've got to put it on the calendar to get here. Now let's take a look at some hot spots, Jason, because looking at these Suzuki track hotspots, things can be a little bit tricky with this new asphalt.
Yeah, especially down here into turn 1. It's a turn, Greg, that you actually start turning before you see the apex of the corner. That's why I put it as my number 1 hotspot. You can see here, you can't see that apex, and that bike's already started to turn itself into turn 2 as you go up over this rise. And then where we're standing there, turn 4 to turn 5, that's the run down to Charlotte's Web. You come up over this blind spot here, you can look at that scoring tower and use that as a little bit of an exit. Down here into turn 5 is a primary passing spot. We've seen a lot of things here on this onboard. You can see that bike getting backed in. It's a turn that opens up as you exit the corner, so it's a little bit of an increasing radius. And then down to turn 11 and 12, you can see a lot of passes down on that straightaway, Greg. If you get a good run out of turn 10, this turn right here, you get a good run on somebody. Not really a big drafting track, but you can lunge yourself up underneath them going into turn 11, into turn number 12, this right. Another turn that now you go up over the top and it's blind. Then we come to turns 14 and 15. This big, long right-hander, Greg, you're going to spend a lot of time on the edge of the tire. There's a number of different ways that you can take it. You can let the bike run out. You can run it tight like we've seen Cameron Beaubier do in years past. But it's a place where you want to get your bike set up in a spot where it's comfortable because you're at such a great lean angle for such a long time, and then you get this run onto that front straightaway.
As we get these super sport bikes rolling, it's going to be a big question as to what lines are going to be available. Let's take a look at the starting grid, though, because I mentioned it earlier, Jason. Bobby Fong in qualifying really set the pace. And as we got deep into qualifying, Bobby was 0.8 of a second quicker than anyone, but it was Bryce Prince and Richie Escalante who closed the gap late in the session.
Yeah, and then we have Hayden Gillum on row 2. Good qualifying effort from Jason Aguilar. Tremendous effort from him. Sean Dillon Kelly is going to be there on the outside of row number 2 and 6th spot. We're going to move back to row 3, Greg. That's where you're going to see PJ Jacobsen and Corey Ventura. Good to see Corey running so well. Xavier Zayat is on the outside there at row 3. Nick McFadden, Max Angles, good to see Max back. Lucas Silva. Then we're going to move back to row 5. Jarrett Nassani still coming off that injury. Good to see him qualifying up in that first 5 rows. Alejandro Thermiotis, Braden Ort. Then we have Miranda, Nolan Lampkin, and Caleb Odom rounding out row 6. A little bit further back again, Edgar Zaragoza, Robert Pierce, Chuck Ivey in row 7 here. Then we have Aaron Graham, Fernando Silva, and Bruno Silva on row 8.
Now we have more riders coming at you. On row number 9, it's Isaiah DeBusk. You have Tony Blackall. You have Andrew Lamoureux. Lamoureux.
Yep.
You have Jeremy Simmons and Garrett O'Brien, who was able to slide in 29 riders thick in this one. Jason, what's interesting is that there was weather in Houston. You got caught up in it. There were flights canceled, all this kind of stuff. Braden Ort, who is our 15th place qualifier, I heard that he took a limousine ride all the way from Houston to Barber Motorsports Park. Cost a lot of money, but he was able to make the grid today.
Called Dad. Dad got him, I think, hooked up. I think that's what happened.
Yeah.
And so there was not a lot of options to get here.
There were not a lot of options.
That's not a bad option, though.
Yeah. Same thing happened
driven
with
10 hours or whatever it is.
In the EBC Brake Superbike class, we'll tell you more about that. You know, Richard Stamboli, team owner of Attack, caught up in the same thing. But all eyes on Bobby Fong right now. Under pressure, Bobby Fong. Is this the new Bobby Fong?
When you look on your grid right now on the far right, you see Bobby Fong. Right behind us, Hayden Gillum. Right behind us, PJ Jacobsen. They're all right next to each other. And you know, PJ's got to look right in front of him at Bobby Fong right now. But those 3 guys are leading the championship. How ironic is it that they're all lined up on the right-hand side of the grid together?
Yeah, that's just your championship right there. And You think it's going to affect the start, Jay?
I think it could. I think it's going to be important for Bobby to get off the line strong. And I think for him, it's going to be, he gets good starts. PJ, on the other hand, I like where he's at. I think that it's better that he's actually in the spot that he's at here, Greg, in 7th. I like him there better than being upper row in 6th. You have a tendency to get pinched off into turn 1 there. From where PJ is in that 7th spot, he can maybe go around the outside of a few guys going down into turn 1, and I'm sure that's something he's thought about already.
Yeah, but the big question is how much time has PJ Jacobsen lost when he had the brake issue in and out in the last qualifying session? Does he have the motorcycle set up to go the pace? Boy, so much at stake, because we talked about it a couple races ago. The way PJ Jacobsen's year was, it's like, look, if he wins out and Bobby Fong finishes 2nd, PJ will win this championship on a tie in points, but he would win on a tiebreaker, which would be more races won than Bobby Fong. But Jason, Bobby Fong was actually walking pretty well this weekend.
Yeah, well, and it doesn't matter if he's on crutches or whatever it is. Bobby's shown that it doesn't matter how he can walk, the guy can still ride. We have a big crash, Greg, on the warm-up lap. Is that bike 78 has crashed? I think it's Thermiotis, isn't it? Yes.
Yeah.
Thermiotis has crashed on the warm-up lap. We're going to be in probably an immediate red flag because I can see debris on the track. It's in turns 10 and 11. He got up out into the grass, and then the bike ended up spitting him. He was in there wide, Greg, was Thermiotis in 11. It looked like he went through 10, was very wide in 11, and I'm just happy to see the young guy get up and he's okay.
We'll see if we're going to get this race started.
It looks like the corner worker crew, I can see them running. They're trying to just clear any debris. There might be off the track. They might be able to get this race going, Greg, because I saw a couple things, but I can see our corner workers out there. Man, those guys, they work their tails off, and they're getting that track cleared up. So maybe we won't see a delay. We'll have to see what race control does here.
Yeah,
that was a big one.
That was a big one. Even when this race gets started, it's going to be about another probably 60 seconds before they get there. So Thermiotis was up and okay, but riders still forming on the grid. And I think the corner workers, they're going to go.
Yeah,
we're being told they're going to go.
Thanks to those corner workers out there for getting it going. And here we go, Greg. Let's keep an eye on those 3 guys that we talked about for this great start.
Race 1, Supersport here at the Championship of Alabama, getting ready to get underway. Championship at stake, and Bobby Fong with a good launch. Bryce Prince moving over. Oh, and PJ Jacobsen next to Hayden Gillum. So PJ on the 99 with a good launch.
He did exactly what he needed to do, Greg. I was looking at our window. He got a tremendous launch. Hayden Gillum did not get off the line very well in 2nd, but PJ put himself in the spot that he needs to do. And Bobby Fong, he's right where he needs to be now, Greg. He can control what's going on. We've seen Bobby lead at the start of these races so many times, get out front, put his head down, try to create that gap.
PJ Jacobsen tried to make a bid for 3rd spot. His line got taken away. So it's number 50, Bobby Fong. M4 X-Star Suzuki, your championship leader. Just behind him, number 54, Richie Escalante on the 2-wheel Eagle Hudson motorcycles.
And how ironic is it? We got Sean Dillon Kelly and Hayden Gillum right behind him. So those top 5, top 6 guys have all gotten away, but it's Escalante putting the pressure on Bobby Fong as we speak right now. PJ's up to 3rd, so he's made it through, like you say, Greg, past Bryce Prince.
So now PJ's got to chip away at Escalante as these two, as Fong and Escalante have started a bit of a jackrabbit start, and PJ loses a spot, so he slides back to 4th. This is not going the way that PJ Jacobsen needs it to go at the moment.
I think Bryce Prince is hungry, though, Greg. You heard him say that this is the 3rd time this morning a red flag. Hannah brought it up to him in their interview. He's had 2 races red flag where we felt he's going to be strong. He had a lap this morning canceled because a red flag came out during his fast lap. They say they come in 3, Greg, so he's had those 3. Bryce Prince wants to get that tuned Yamaha. He doesn't care about any championships. He wants to try to get to the front and win this race.
Bobby Fong, 10 points ahead in the championship of PJ Jacobsen, who sits back in 4th and is losing ground. 19 laps scheduled in this one. It's a long way to go. PJ trying to feel out the grip, and here comes Escalante. Go to the front, and Sean Dillon Kelly trying to get around PJ Jacobsen and put him back to 5th. So we had a new race leader as Bobby Fong outdrives Escalante coming out of turn number 5, Charlotte's Web. Into turn 8 they go to the museum corner, and it's going to be Bobby Fong. But the first shot has been fired by Escalante.
And I'm just looking back there to see who's got through. I think that's Corey Ventura, is it, Greg? I'm not sure who that is now that's dropped back into 6th. I believe it's Corey Ventura. Tremendous job from the young man out of Northern California. Corey looks like he's up to 6th. And Hayden Gillum back there in 7th. But
Sean Dillon Kelly, sorry, Jay. Sean Dillon Kelly
yep.
now gets by PJ, who just had a bad run in that section of the racetrack. But so SDK now sets sail.
They're dropping them, aren't they, Greg, these first 3? They're just dropping everybody.
Yeah, PJ
and it looks like
coming
PJ's
under
got a
fire.
problem. Yeah, it looks like he may have a problem, Greg. We're going to keep an eye back there and see.
Yep, PJ Jacobsen.
He's got a problem.
Struggling as Hayden Gillum goes around. So PJ looking on the front straight. Doesn't signal. He takes a look over at the timing board.
Greg, this is huge because if 15 points or more get made up for Bobby Fong here, we can see the championship come to an end because obviously PJ's got a problem. He's going to be dropping like a stone here. These front 3 guys have all gotten away. That's information that I'm sure the M4XR Suzuki team are going to be trying to get on their boards.
So Bobby Fong would need 26 points ahead of PJ Jacobsen, so we would need 16. They're currently tied at 4 wins apiece. And with the race tomorrow, if Bobby wins it and it's 25 points, there's always the possibility of a tie in this championship. So a lot at stake here as Bobby Fong doesn't care about any of it right now. All he's trying to do is his job. Get that M4XR Suzuki to the checkered flag first, collect the most amount of points, and let the rest of it sort itself out behind him.
Yeah, well, he's in a great spot right now. These 2 guys behind him are going to be hungry. I'm happy to see Richie Escalante. Let's give him a little bit of airtime. We've seen him close at places, and he looks good here. Bryce Prince trying to go to the right side of him. That's going to be a difficult pass as they roll down into turn 12. Things get real narrow down in this part of the racetrack, Greg. And Sean Dillon Kelly all the while has chipped away. We see 2 purple segments on our screens right now, which means that Sean Dillon Kelly has ran the 2 fastest splits in sector 2 and 3.
Richie Escalante not with a, well, he had an incident yesterday, I guess. It's not been a mistake-free weekend where he crashed his motorcycle. And it was the section of which he crashed, Jason, back there in 12, 13, 14 area where he slowed up just a little bit. It's those types of crashes when you have them and you're not exactly sure why, you can slow down a little bit.
There's Hayden Gillum, and then we're going to look back. I think that's Max Angles. Tremendous job from him. And there's PJ. He's got Aguilar now all over him. And I'm watching PJ's body position. The acceleration part doesn't look bad, Greg, but I'm looking at him going into corners. I saw this morning that there appeared to be some brake issues. Looking at Nick McFadden as well. Right there in front of those guys, isn't he? I mistake that for Hayden Gillum, I believe.
Yeah, Nick McFadden, the number 18 machine on that ridiculous racing Yamaha out of Owensboro, Kentucky, leading that group. He's in 7th spot. Max Angles in there with PJ, Jason Aguilar, Braden Nort back there as well. Not to say this championship is over yet, but it is not looking good for PJ Jacobsen on his return to the United States after spending 9 years abroad. PJ had all the momentum the second half of the season and had closed this championship up with 10 points. Bottom right-hand part of your screen, you can see what it would do to this championship. If it ended like this now, Bobby Fong would be crowned national champion. But Richie Escalante and Bryce Prince don't want to let Bobby Fong get away. They are the riders who want to stand on the top of the podium in 15 laps time.
Yeah, and it just looks to me that Bryce has some pace right now. Bobby is in a catboard seat. I'm sure that they're putting on his board, Greg, exactly where PJ is as far as the points-paying positions. He's in 9th spot right now. Is PJ on that Celtic Racing Yamaha? And you can see, Greg, 28-point lead. That would be game over at the end of the day.
Anything can happen, though,
Yes.
Jason. This is a long race. Anything can happen. So if you're PJ, you've got to stay in the fight and try to get any points you can just in case something happens. Escalante's trying to go up the inside in turn 5.
And you can see Bobby. Bobby's going to cut it back up underneath him, clean as you like. Bobby's having a look over. I think the thing that you got to remember here is that if you notice, Bobby wasn't interested. Once he saw Escalante come up underneath him, he wasn't interested in closing that door. He doesn't want to create any kind of situations that could put him in trouble. And he's getting probably some great information from his pit board as well, like I said. But he knows it's Escalante and somebody else right behind him.
15 to go. Oftentimes in Supersport racing, the pace gets so hectic, so frantic, that we usually see a little bit of attrition as we head to the end of this race. So the way it's shaping up right now, though, Bobby Fong is controlling the pace. This is the section where Escalante had some troubles yesterday. Fong has got good pace through 14, 15. Through 16 they go. Left-hander onto the front straightaway is turn 17. Fong to the throttle stop. And the ride to the line, Escalante trying to sniff a draft, but you can see the speed of that GSXR 600 Suzuki of Bobby Fong.
No doubt, Greg. And he's going to be really happy when he sees that it's his teammate back there in fourth. If these two guys, my biggest concern for Bobby Fong right now is Escalante getting by. Bryce Prince is going to want to make some moves really quickly in order to not let Escalante get away if that is the case. But 28-1, Greg, is a fast pace, and that's what Fong is doing right now. And you can see Escalante a little out of shape getting in there behind him into Charlotte's Web. But 28-120 is the fastest, and they just ran a 28-143. Bobby Fong has just done his personal fastest split on this lap through that first sector as well.
PJ Jacobsen, title contender, slipping back to 11th.
Wow.
15th is what we paid to, by the way. 15th spot pays one single point, so if PJ keeps losing ground in this one, it's in essence like a DNF for PJ Jacobsen, so he's got to keep going. Yep. There he is, the 99, Celtic HSBK Racing Yamaha.
He's just in front of Lucas Silva, so you got to think that that's going to be a spot the way guys are going by PJ right now. Unfortunately, that's probably going to be a spot. We've seen Lucas have some solid top 10s this year, and right now he's in 12th, just behind. And here's the battle up in front of them between Aguilar. Max Engels doing a great job. Nick McFadden is in this fight as well as we go back to the lead group.
Max Engels, he
love
had a good drive going on.
He's on it.
Yeah, we'll take a look when they come across the line. But continuing to lead the way is M4X Star Suzuki's Bobby Fong.
And looking a little further back, Sean Dillon Kelly was not in fourth. He's come across our line in sixth, so there must have been a big mistake for the number 40 somewhere. Sean Dillon Kelly runs 31-2.
He already started drifting back, though, Jay.
Did he?
Started losing touch the last lap. So Sean Dillon Kelly not in a position at the moment to help out his teammate. But how about Corey Ventura on our timing and scoring screen, the 28 rider up into fourth spot for Corey Ventura.
Corey Ventura, man, I am so impressed with him right now. I mean, we've seen him a lot in our Liqui Moly Cup. He wasn't able to get the season started. He travels the country with his mom and dad, which is just so awesome. We saw some great social media from him last week with a great photo of him pushing his bike through the pits at Jersey with mom and dad in tow. And right now he's running fourth spot, Greg.
Our leader, Bobby Fong, your championship points leader, under tremendous pressure from Richie Escalante on the 54. And Bryce Prince, number 74, on that Toon Racing Yamaha out of California, Bakersfield. Now shifting back to this battle right here. Number 28, Ventura, leading the way on Hayden Gillum. That's for fourth spot. And Ventura,
he looks great.
Looks amazing.
He really does. He looks really good on that 600. And we haven't had too many of our Liqui Moly guys jump up onto the 600 class and show any real success. But this young man's proven that today. Sean Dillon Kelly, the last time through, did a 31-2. I know he's capable of more than that, Greg, so it must have just been a simple mistake somewhere. He's got Hayden Gillum in front of him and Ventura just in front of him. Meanwhile, at the front, 27-5 for Bobby Fong.
Hello, 27-5.
Yep.
Fastest lap of the race, set in lap number 7. Those Dunlop tires are hooking up here on this new surface at Barber Motorsports Park. By the way, Jason, for Ventura, his best finish of the year has been 5th place, so he's working on his best Supersport finish of his career.
And Bobby looks so good too, Greg. He looks so in control, just doing his thing. Right now, these are the hardest laps. You're just trying to grind out this middle section of the race. You're wondering what other people's tires are like and so on and so forth. If he is getting on his board now that PJ is in 11th, you don't even know the math that far back. You know the math from about first place to third, 25, 20, 16.
Would you even bother as a team, though, or would you let him just stay focused?
It just depends on what his personal preference is with his crew. They're so, experienced down there in that M4X Star situation. They've been in this position a million times in their lives, so it's really whatever Bobby prefers. I'm sure that he probably realizes where PJ is going to be. It might be a thing where they might give him a lap, something halfway through the race. They might try to see what kind of gap they give him to PJ.
Supersport race number 1 from Barber Motorsports Park here at the finale of 2019 season is Bobby Fong, your championship points leader. Injured a couple races ago, stayed on the motorcycle, did the most incredible job of keeping himself in the hunt. After the DNF that he had in round number 12, that was race number 1 at Pittsburgh. Bobby has had 3 second-place finishes. Now, keeps riding himself into fitness, pedaling a bicycle around the pits earlier today. He's walking better than I've seen him in a long time.
That's
He was
good.
on crutches last time we saw him.
Well, we heard that he had a cracked heel, and that is a miserable injury. If anybody's not had that, a cracked heel is not a lot of fun. So Escalante still looks like he's got some pace. Looks like he wants to try to get the best he can. He wants to get by Bobby, but you know what, Greg? As a competitor, you have respect for the guys that are in the championship hunt. All of these guys do not want to be the story behind why Bobby Fong or PJ Jacobsen do not win a title. They don't want to be the people that override or overpush and make a mistake. So he's probably got a little bit of respect. I think Escalante is riding amazing, as is Bryce Prince. But they both want to win, but they both don't want to do something silly along the way.
And here's a move we've seen in the past. The transition from 16 to 17 onto the front straightaway. There's the board, P1, G3, L10. So we know P1 is his position. My guess is G3 is going to be, there's 3 in the group. Does that make sense to you?
Yep.
And then, of course, how many laps left in this race?
Yep, and we haven't seen Bobby look back once. I've seen him look to the side one time with Escalante, and we'll see if what ends up happening as the race wears on. If they halfway through, do they give him anything, or are they going to just keep letting him run his race? Because right now, he's doing a great job. Here you go, Greg, a little further back. PJ Jacobsen now, we see Lucas Silva. He's got by Lucas Silva. I thought Lucas Silva was going to be trying to set him up, but I'm looking at PJ's lap times.
He got by Max Angles, too, who Max
did.
Angles has actually been penalized for a jump start.
Ah, okay. Is that what happened? Got it, okay.
So PJ's gotten by. So that moves
That'll be a
PJ
time
into 10th.
penalty, right,
It'll be a
Greg? That'll
time
be a time
penalty.
penalty? Okay.
Yep, so that will move him into 10th spot. And every point matters. I mean, the difference between 10th and 11th, the way we score is 1 point. Oh, it looks like
What's happened to
Bryce Prince.
Yeah, did he make a mistake that we just didn't see, Greg, or?
Yeah, quite possibly Bryce Prince has lost touch with this leading duo of Bobby Fong, number 50, M4X Star Suzuki, Richie Escalante, 54. That's on the silver and green motorcycle. The 54 of Escalante on that two-wheel Eagle Hudson motorcycles R6.
I think Bryce will close this gap back down. He lost about a half a second, Greg, in that third sector, so it might have been a mistake as they rolled over into the museum corner. There's a shot of the number 74 tuned racing Yamaha.
So now 9 laps to go. Bobby Fong's board comes out as we're very interested to see what communication will be on Bobby's board.
Consistently running 27s now, 27.9 that time through. Best lap there of a 27.5, but Bobby's still running very strong. Escalante's got a run on him right now, Greg, as they go down towards Charlotte's Web and see if he's close enough. Not quite. Bobby's doing a pretty good job of keeping that bike in a position that looks rather defensive. So Escalante's got to just try to be a little bit closer as they come out of turn 2 and they go up over that wide open ridge there, turn 3, up over 4 rather, Greg.
You see a little bit of a wear mark on the very edge of the right side of that Dunlop tire. You can see some lines starting to form, something that we thought was going to happen here. That'll be an indicator as we get deeper into this race how much grip each one of these riders has.
Yeah, Bryce Prince is obviously just losing touch. He must have a tire. We've seen this out of Bryce before when those red flags came out. All of a sudden, he just isn't able to kind of go. I thought by looking at the times that he had lost half a second, and he's done it again this time, Greg. He goes through the first 2 splits with these guys. Something's happening to Bryce Prince in the third split that we're not quite catching, because it's dropped him back now a half a second both laps in a row. And his first and second splits are identical, but the third split's costing him. So we'll see if we can figure out what's going on there.
Yeah, that might be one of those situations where he had a moment maybe into 10, which we've seen happen all weekend long, flicking it from the left back to the right. Maybe he lost it and he's just not comfortable through that third split.
Or in something like turn 8 going into museum. Maybe he lost the front a lap or so before, but you can see the difference there. 27 7s and 8s from Fong and Escalante. Bryce Prince 28.5. That's the tell. So now Escalante, it's going to give Richie a big boost of confidence. If he comes by and sees on his board that he's got +1 or 2 over Bryce, he's not going to have to worry about anybody behind him. And that might make it to where he can make a better decision of when and where he wants to try to do something with Bobby Fong.
What a situation we are in Supersport race number 1. Out front you have Bobby Fong, who's trying to win this championship, could potentially wrap it up in this race. But then you have Richie Escalante, who has been chipping away and just chipping away at it and chipping away at trying to get a race win. So far this season, Richie Escalante has had a 2nd place finish and 3 third place finishes, and he would love to walk away from this final race of 2019 with a race win under his belt. And he just seems like he is stalking Bobby Fong Where is Richie Escalante going to do it? Because Escalante doesn't care about Bobby Fong trying to win a championship. Richie Escalante cares about winning a race.
Yeah, and it would be a great win for these Hudson Motorcycle guys, and I think that Escalante is going to use his head, though. He's been tremendous this year. We've seen him in one race, I believe, and I can't remember. I can't put my finger on it where it was, Greg, but I remember seeing him tip off. I believe it was Sonoma, if I'm not mistaken, and but other than that, he's been in the points all year long. So, and here you got to look back. Hayden Gillum, Corey Ventura, and Sean Dillon Kelly hasn't been able to make an impression on these two in front of him.
So Hayden Gillum's moved his way into 4th.
This is the spot, Greg, right up over the top of this hill. Now it looks like he might be close enough to take a shot.
Escalante on the binder, sends it a little sideways. He's going to pass. Bobby's seen this before. He squared it up, but Escalante tries to hold it down to the apex. There goes Bobby Fong. They're side by side on the drive towards turn number 8. Escalante looks like he has it. Now he's going to be able to lead through the museum corner.
And that's going to be big for him. Now Bobby will really pay attention to his pit crew now. Those guys are probably scrambling to try to change whatever they had on the board from +0 to maybe a +1 or 2. That's going to give Bobby so much confidence knowing that if he decides he wants to go chase down a victory, it's right in front of him. But if not, he doesn't see that number 99 of P.J. Jacobsen anywhere near him.
Ooh, Escalante looked wide there. Fong on the line. Can Escalante, who's got the line, hold it? He does, but Fong is very close. So where is the risk taken? Is Fong going up the inside? He is, so Fong will take back the lead in a spot we didn't think had a tremendous amount of traction, but Fong has got a lot of confidence and he'll get back to the front.
He just looks solid. Bobby just looks good. P1, +1, L6. So they had, they're obviously, when you see a +1, he knows that Escalante is right behind him. So that was probably his crew had put a +1 on there for Bryce Prince when he was in second, and they had just enough time to get that one up there that back to P1.
And Bryce is right back on him.
Yes.
So these guys roughing each other up a little bit has allowed Prince to get back into it as Prince just set the fastest Sector 1 split of the race.
Yep.
So he is on a charge. Bryce Prince, whatever he had going on, has got it sorted now. And he's getting back after these top 2.
And how about behind these guys? What we're not noticing is P.J. Jacobsen has just been running down guys. He's all the way back up to 8th, Greg. He's got by Ort. He's got by Aguilar. He's got, obviously, we saw him pulling away from Lucas Silva. Here you go, Greg. And he's going by Nick McFadden now. That's the spot for 7th. So whatever problems P.J. Jacobsen had, it almost looks like they've cleared up a little bit. He's at a 28.8. Put that reference down. The leaders were at 28.2s last time by. PJ was nowhere near this group 5-6 laps ago, and he's just been chipping back away at him.
You got to keep fighting, Jay. We talked about it before. P.J. Jacobsen trying to keep the pulse alive in his championship hunt as Bobby Fong continues to lead out front. P.J. Jacobsen, that move is going to move him up into 7th spot. That's 9 points for P.J. as he continues to march forward. So P.J. riding around any issues he's had, and bam, just like that, we're back to 3 up front. And lap traffic coming, Jason.
Yep.
So Bobby Fong peels her into 1. He's going to head down the hill into the 2-3 area, and you can see lap traffic right there.
Yep.
There
only
will
got
be
one, right? Only got one guy to go by now, Greg. About 8 seconds up in front of this one, this back marker.
Jeremy Simmons.
A lot bigger group.
So Simmons is going to go to the inside line. Indicators that he knows the group is coming. So Simmons gets out of the way, no drama. Fong out of turn number 6. Onto that mid-track straightaway heading to the museum on the brakes. We've seen people make passes on the old surface into this corner. It was a big question mark whether someone would have to do it. There's so many other opportunities here as Fong gets it turned quickly and gets it up on the meat of the tire, trying to get a drive on Escalante. So number 50, Bobby Fong, M4 XR Suzuki.
Now Bobby's at that stage of the race that he's got through kind of that middle lull, let's just call it, Greg, of your mind's wondering, thinking what's going on, but now you've had a guy go by you and you've been able to kind of square him back up and go up underneath him through this big long right. What a tremendously great spot to be good at for Bobby Fong in this last big long right-hand corner, to be able to roll up the inside of Escalante the way he did a couple of laps ago. When he comes by this time, now there's a whole nother set of motivations. You're at the end of the race. You know what's going on. You're getting good pit boards. You can see P1 with 4 to go. And you got 4 laps to go right now. You can almost see the finish. So you want to keep pushing forward. 27.8 that last time through for Bobby Fong. Still living in the 27s.
Only one other rider was doing that. That's Bryce Prince. So Prince on the 74 starting to lose grip with Richie Escalante. This is where Escalante's been really strong. Down the hill into turn 5 they go. That's a slower part of the racetrack. And so as Bobby, with that couple bike length lead, looks like we have
Tony Blackle. Yeah.
Yeah, Tony Blackle down out of that one.
Down in turn 17 there. So this is going to be our, this is 2 corners from the end, Greg. He just got high-sided off the inside. Just a little bit too much throttle, leaned over on the right. And takes out our Dunlop banners. Maybe gets a couple of them. Just got one.
He looks like he's going to be up and okay. Back up front we go. Have about 3.5 to go in this one. Here's live championship points. So if it stays like this, Fong would wrap up this championship by a single point. But PJ's not wanting that to happen, as now PJ's dragging Jason Aguilar up with him. But Jason, Sean Dillon Kelly, he's 26 seconds up the road.
Yeah, now we got 2 really important races, don't we, Greg? We got this race at the front between Bobby Fong and Escalante. And let's not keep in mind, if Escalante was to get by and then Jason Aguilar was to get by PJ, that also throws a wrench in the points as well. But it looks like Bryce Prince is now trying to do something with Escalante as they go up around turn 2. And Bobby Fong just has almost half a second. Doesn't look it on our screen, but when they came across, it was 0.4 of a second. 27.7s for all 3 of our front runners. So when you put that in perspective, these guys all qualified in the 27s. 27.7 was where Bryce Prince qualified in 2nd place. He just ran.
Oh, Escalante up and out of the saddle.
That's what can happen.
Big save on that one. Bryce Prince nearly got collected, but everybody's okay on this one. But that move, Jason, has given Bobby Fong another bit of breathing room.
Now it's a matter of how hard is Escalante willing to push. That's the first sign of, hey, tires are getting a little worn out. We got 3 laps to go. We got a pretty easy podium on our hands here. Let's not do anything silly. But Bobby Fong right now, that's going to be a second plus that he's got in hand now when he comes through. Bryce Prince is trying to make a move up under Escalante as they go down into the turn 12. Big pass for Bryce Prince.
Nice move by Bryce Prince. He knew that Escalante was in trouble, and he took advantage of it, so he'll move himself into 2nd spot.
Kind of got to strike, Greg, when you feel like your competitor had a big bobble like that. It's going to take him maybe a corner or 2 to get his confidence back. Bryce struck right away, and you can see what's happened. He's gone right to and got past Escalante. Now Bobby Fong is going to encounter some big traffic right now. Now this could work for him or work against him. He should be able to get by. Yep, now he's going to get stuck a little bit here in turn 2. He's got to be very careful around these guys.
Lap traffic in the way. Bobby Fong trying to get a nice clean racetrack ahead of him. There's competition behind him, though. They should be able to get by this traffic.
Bobby's going to get this in a good spot. Bryce Prince did close up, and Escalante sends it off in there to also get by. But Bobby got hung up a little bit, and now it's going to get really interesting when they get down to turn 8, because I don't think Bobby's going to get by any of these guys. I can see it looks like Graham there and Robert Pierce. So now our top 3 are going to be right behind each other coming out of here.
Got to be so careful with this new asphalt, too. There's so many different lines. But who's Bobby going to get in turn number 10 and 11?
Gets by Pierce. Let's see if Bryce Prince gets by. He does. Now Bobby's in a good spot. If he can get Aaron Graham, if he can get him stuck in between him and Bryce Prince, it's going to help him, because he's going to get held up a little bit also by Silva, Fernando Silva, and Bruno Silva. So all the Silva brothers are out there. And Bobby just gets chopped off. He's going to go underneath here or go around.
Is he going around the outside, or is he going to try to tuck it up? So Bobby Fong trying to go around the outside. Oh. Wow, what a move by Bobby Fong.
And Bryce Prince is closed up, Greg, coming to the white flag.
He went right with him. So the white flag's going to fly. You can see L1, the last lap of this race, but...
Oh, Bryce Prince is going to get held up. That's going to be race right there. Now Bobby Fong just has to stay comfortable, hit his marks, Greg. Hit his marks through here. He realizes that when they go through turn 2, through turn 3, where he's at now, up over the brow of this hill, turn 5 is the next spot where anybody will take a chance at him. Let's see if he runs it in there a little bit tight, not knowing. Yeah, Bobby looks clean as he comes down into here.
So Bobby Fong. Oh, and look what happened. Richie Escalante takes advantage of a miscue from Bryce Prince. Oh, look at this live championship points if the race finishes this way for Bobby Fong. This could be it for Fong working the final lap. Could this be an M4 X-Star Suzuki national champion? Bobby Fong working his way on this last lap. These two trying to duke it out. You'll know once the team gets to the wall. Is he going to be crowned champion?
Wow, now he's onto that back straightaway, Greg, and I'm sure that he probably thinks these guys are still directly behind him. He's just got to keep it clean through 4 more corners. You saw his board already has the word on there. Champion is on there.
The problem is we need everybody to come across the line from first, obviously, to 7th to PJ. So he'll come across the line. Will he get the board? Here it is. Bobby Fong, newly signed to M4X Star Suzuki at the beginning of the year. He thought he had a championship in him. As he comes across the line, Bobby Fong with a look over his shoulder. Fist pumps. He'll be the national champion and win race number 1 here at Barber Motorsports Park. What a way to do it as we await the arrival of Hayden Gillum, Sean Dillon Kelly, and Corey Ventura. They've got to come across the line in that order. So Sean Dillon Kelly across, Corey Ventura, and here comes PJ Jacobsen. The 99 Problems fought his way all the way to the line, and PJ will come across in 7th spot. And that should do it for Bobby Fong.
Amazing, Greg.
We'll have to wait, Jason, obviously, for official word in this one. But our calculations have Bobby Fong 26 points ahead of PJ Jacobsen with only 25 to get tomorrow. Outstanding from Bobby Fong. When he looks back at this championship, when he got hurt at Pittsburgh and got back on that motorcycle, that set the tone for his national championship. 2019 MotoAmerica Supersport champion. He'll get a number 1 plate and be the last Supersport rider I get to talk to at the banquet this weekend.
Yes, he will be. Yep. And honestly, Greg, you on paper, you had to think that this was going to go both races this weekend before we saw a champion crown. The fact that Bobby's done it on race 1 will make tomorrow's race so much more fun for him. And this is going to be a guy we've seen fight through a lot of things this year. When he threw it down the road at Pittsburgh, as big as that looked, there was question whether he'd be able to even ride that day. And they were able to get him on and off the bike and ride did he. He ends up 2nd in both those races at Pittsburgh.
Here's a replay, Jason, of Bobby Fong.
That's after Escalante had taken the lead down into turn 5, and Bobby felt so comfortable leading the race that he was able to roll back up underneath the inside of him, and this is his run to the flag. And he realizes there's nobody around him. He can see nobody there. He gets a chance to look at his board.
All the years Bobby Fong has been in this paddock fighting for it, and he finally gets it done. All credit to the M4X Star Suzuki team, though, Jason. During the course of the year, Bobby Fong, not without incident, he went through six different chassis on that motorcycle, crashing that bike, and his team, all the hard work, and also in the offseason. There's a coveted ride, M4X Star Suzuki ride, wide open, heading into the new year.
Yep.
And they had to make a decision on who they were going to put on that motorcycle, and they had a lot of options. And congratulations to that team. They chose the perfect rider to do it, because Bobby Fong, as he pulls in to Parc Ferme, as the team celebrates with him.
Yeah, pretty good.
Bobby's just finding out right now that he's the national champion.
That's pretty great. It's such a neat feeling. It's one that you never, ever forget. You sit there and you got all your crew. It's so neat. You almost forget the accomplishment that you made because you see everybody so excited. You're pumped for everybody else as well,
Wow. So Fonger, you can see that, he's looking pretty good. Team owners there of Team Hammer, which, of course, own the M4X Star Suzuki team. The Ulrich family giving congratulations to Bobby Fong. Jay, you think that's the move, right? Don't tell him he won the championship till he comes across the line and gets into Parc Ferme.
Well, I think that the one thing with Bobby, he'll self-admit as well that he's worked a lot on his off-track mental preparation and game, as you know, and there was something that changed on him midway through the season. To me, I could see it. It could be the fact, I know Josh Hayes has been helping him quite a bit, which is amazing as well to have somebody like that in your corner who's won championships and so on in the past. So, but. Again, Greg, it goes down to this. You got to have a great team. He's got that. Great crew. He's got that. Great bike. Obviously, he's got that. Anything else that he has helping him is just a big bonus.
So congratulations to Bobby Fong. He gets to win the race. And Jason, you've been in this spot a couple times yourself. Yeah, number 1, baby, is right, Bobby Fong. Number 1 today on the racetrack and number 1 for the season. Unbelievable. Jason, there's just no better way to win a championship?
No, to do it that way. When you win a race and doing it the way he just did it, that makes it a lot more fun when you can go to the front like that, win the race, win the championship. Not a better way to do it. I feel bad for PJ, obviously, because you look like you had a problem. But here's our look at our points, Greg.
25 tomorrow, so obviously that 26-point deficit for PJ Jacobsen means it is out of reach. Hayden Gillum, 47 back. Sean Dillon Kelly, 83. Escalante, Bryce Prince right in the mix as well. You can see Josh Hayes, who came on and off the racetrack, during the course of the year, back there in 9th spot. So for PJ, though, Jason, obviously, world caliber rider, loved the fight that he put in. He never really gave up.
No.
But it was really that huge gap. The biggest deal was congratulations to Corey Ventura, who finishes 6th.
Amazing job.
But PJ was 14.6 behind Corey, so there was really no chance at
But
the
it's
end of the race.
puzzling when you look at it, Greg. So he went 28.3 on his last lap. His fastest lap of the race was a 28.3 earlier, so really crazy.
Let's get down to Hannah, who has our new number 1 plate, Bobby Fong.
Bobby's a little bit in shock right now. You pulled it off. First win of your championship, or first championship of your career. Excuse me. See, I'm so excited right now for Bobby. When you got around that lap traffic, headed into those last few corners, what was going on in your mind?
Honestly, I didn't know if it was going to hurt me or help me, but I knew that I had a little in store at the end, and we paid it off. But, man, honestly, I got to give it up to my team, my coach, Josh Hayes, my whole crew, Cody, Seb, Dave, Frank. Everybody's been working their butts off all year long, and man, the nerves has been so high this weekend, and everybody, the pressure, the social media of everybody doubting me, and it's good to get this win, and for Suzuki mainly, and I might have a job next year and be racing motorcycles, but I'm excited to go into tomorrow and not worry about it. Man, you don't know how much of a relief this is. Thanks, boys.
Congratulations, Bobby Fong.
How about that, Jason? And that's the same GSXR 600 you can go down to the dealership and buy right now as Bobby Fong, your 2019 Supersport champion. And Jason, as we look at this video of Bobby Fong, I want to make a note here. On the last lap of the race, Bobby Fong, he said he had something in store, in the tank.
Yeah.
A 127.547. His fastest lap was a 127.542.
Unreal.
So Bobby went 0.005 of a second slower on the last lap than his fastest lap of the race. He definitely had something in the tank.
Yeah, and that's going through a couple back markers as well, and that's knowing your equipment, knowing what you've got underneath you, tire management, understanding what's going on with your tires. It's just all around, this is what happens when you get good riders on good teams, and that experience plays in, and you can't talk about that enough. All 3 of these guys ride for great teams. Tuned Racing there with Bryce Prince, and obviously Hudson Motorcycles with Richie Escalante. Just a great job.